Let a few more people get on, and then we are going to start talking about the latest. We've got that winter storm warning out. Shelby wants out. I'm going outside. Oh, you see the door open, huh? All right, go. All right. So what you're seeing here on the right side of the screen, that's the latest GFS model coming in. Let me refresh this one more time, see if I can share this to my page, because it is not showing up. Home, live, wait, that's it. Okay, so I need to copy, share to Facebook. User opted out of platform. All right, of course. Just need to. It doesn't really give me an option there. All right. Again, I'm trying to kind of cover two platforms here. And then I'm going to go ahead and share it over here to you. I'm just going to go over here and share this. If my internet connection will hold up, right? All right. Paste. Post. All right. So now I got your undivided attention now. Again, you can post questions and whatnot out here in the stream. Chapman Mountain area checking in. Coleman, Alabama. We're going to cover all of you. So as far as any changes go, I've got my Buccaneers gear on, by the way, getting ready for the game. I think it's a 3:30 kickoff today. But what you're looking at here, this is basically the latest GFS model output, and it continues to be right on the money. It just continues to show, as I let Shelby back in, it continues to show this area of snow developing right on the state line and continuing. And this has 7 inches of snow. And one of the things I keep seeing a lot of is we've got a lot of people posting the NAM model, the NAM model, and it's the one that's showing the snow north of us and more of freezing rain and ice. I don't know what's wrong with that model, but it has been way off for at least the last 6 months. It's typically that model overdoes severe weather, and I think they've made an adjustment because it used to be really cold. This last event we had, it was really, really cold, and it made it look like it was going to be the end of the world cold. So I think there's been an adjustment to the temperature profile that they're using with the NAM model. And the other thing is, and the Weather Service uses this a lot, is the blended model. And I think the blended model is off, and I'll show you the blended model. I think it's off because it's including the NAM. But I'll show you the NAM, but right now I'm more relying on the GFS model and the European model. In fact, let's show you the European model here. This will be from last night. It hasn't quite run yet. But see, it still has this stripe of 5 to 7 inches from north, from basically in and around, say, the Ole Miss campus through Tupelo and up to Florence, Huntsville. We've got 4 and 5 inches. That was the one that ran at midnight last night. So here is the NAM. This is the 3-kilometer NAM model. And notice how it's way, way north. And it's been way, way north all along. The challenge is when you use these blended models, it adds the NAM in there, and I think it's throwing it off. I think that's what's really going on here, because for all these other models to be lockstep, here's the blend of models. For all the models to be lockstep except the NAM doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's the same weather. You see, here's the blend of models. And let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and get a bigger view here for you. We'll go regional. So what this is doing, it's putting out this bigger stripe north of us. So we're going to talk about when this is all moving in coming up. in just a second. We're going to kind of help you plan your travel, but I'm just kind of setting the base here with the snowfall potential. And so the blended model here, it's got still about 2 inches in Madison County, 3 inches in Lauderdale County. And this is why you see the winter storm warning set up the way it is. But when we go in here, and let's go to the HRRR, the HRRR, and it will likely be similar to the NAM in how it, because they're almost related basically. So that they're using the same physics here. And the HRRR model did not do very well either with our round of severe weather. Just checking on Shelby behind me there. She's doing good. So having said, you know what? Let me take that off and just do that so you can see it better. So again, that is the HRRR. So let's get back into the local view. And I really wish this Pivotal Weather company would do a better job here for North Alabama, because you see the state lines at the top of the screen. So here's the HRRR. It's not too aggressive. However, let's take a look at the total ice here. And that's another thing we're talking about, is the potential for ice. And this model is going to be warmer, so it's showing a little bit better chance for ice. So let's get to the model I'm most in agreement with, and that's going to be the GFS. And it's got a little bit of ice here too. So again, some of this is going to show... Oh, wait a minute, that's Thursday. So there's another system coming in. That's Thursday right there. So again, we're just going to talk about Monday and Tuesday here. So as we talk about the snow and when's it going to move in, right now this is going to be 6 o'clock. Actually, this is 9 o'clock tonight. If anything, it's changed a little bit earlier. So there's 3 o'clock in the morning. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, let me switch this up just a little bit. Show you here are the warnings here in pink. Those are winter storm warnings. This is the entire U.S. And I believe those are all wind chill warnings up into the northern high plains. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on here. So what you're looking at, this is the GFS model. The European model, morning run, it will be out probably around noon. I'll check before I leave this Facebook Live and see what's going on with that. But this has about 1 inch of snow on the ground in Lauderdale County and Colbert County by 3 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And as we continue on, it's got about 2 to 3 inches of snow by noon tomorrow. So this is noon tomorrow. As far as the Huntsville metro area goes, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches by noon. So let's kind of back this up just a little bit. So the morning commute tomorrow, again, tomorrow is a holiday, MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But as far as the roads go, and I still have to go run an errand. Ross is coming back to town today, so I need one more steak, so I got to get that taken care of. And I really hate to go to the grocery store today, but I'm going to do it. It's only a block away. But at that point, I'll be able to see if they pre-treated the roads around here, because right around the corner, we've got the Harvest Monrovia Volunteer Fire Department. So surely they've treated the road in front of there. So I'm going to check that. And as I kind of go through this, and then I'll back it up. But one of the things you want to be doing today is trying to figure out if you've got to get out of your house tomorrow, road conditions, what's the best route. And it may be a longer trip than what you normally would do, because I've already thought of that myself, because 2 Decembers ago, my son was stuck on the road out here, Sam Thomas Road, and you don't realize how hilly some of these roads are until you get snow and ice on them. And there was like that much snow and ice, and it was a disaster. What happens is, even if you have a four-wheel drive, there's other cars that are on the road that shouldn't be on the road, that run off the road, and it creates this huge backup, and you can't go anywhere. So you get stuck in it. So my son was about a half a mile away from home, and he was stuck for an hour. So these are the kind of things that we have to figure out and deal with. And if we get a lot of traffic on the roads, it's going to pack that snow down, and the temperatures are going to be in the 20s. And when you reach about 25, it can take 35 minutes to an hour on that road, and it's going to be hazardous. Again, those are the untreated ones. They can treat the roads, and they have. I know University Drive, and I'm sure other areas out in the Shoals and in Jackson County, they have pre-treated, but there's just not enough chemical to put on every road. So not every road is going to get treated, and the main thoroughfares are usually treated for emergency crews. And there's usually, I noticed yesterday on University, it was one lane. So that's what you may encounter, one lane of traffic. And if you don't have to go anywhere tomorrow, I would just stay put. So that's the best advice I can give you there. So as we continue on here, this is the Thursday system coming in. So this model, again, this has been very consistent. However, I'd say these totals are down a little bit from what they showed earlier. But it only takes an inch of snow here in North Alabama. And you're down here probably in Gadsden, Marshall County, you're thinking. And that's the other thing I really want to stress is just because you're not under a winter storm warning doesn't mean you're not going to see an impact from this, because I think everyone is going to have an impact. Even if, as I mentioned, you get a half inch, it's going to be extremely cold. So the travel conditions will be bad, if not impossible in some areas, tomorrow into Tuesday. So as far as Tuesday goes, whatever falls tomorrow morning will still be on the ground Tuesday morning. And the sun, I don't think the sun's going to come out much either. So again, this is storm number 1, and storm number 2 is still a bit in question, but if that happens, we're talking another 3 to 4 inches on top of whatever we get today. And it's in the same areas too. So let's take a look at the European model here real quick, and then I'm going to look at some of your questions. Yeah, I've got to work tomorrow too, so I got to get out in that as well. So this is going to be the European model. You see, it's kind of throwing. The amazing thing is the consistency of the GFS and the European model. And I get a lot of questions. It's like, what's the difference between the models? The GFS and the European are long-range models. And typically what happens is, as you get closer to the event, the short-range, the mesoscale models that update every 3 hours lock in, and they're supposed to be a little bit more accurate. However, in this situation here, I think they're too warm with some of the lower levels of the atmosphere, and that's why we're getting more snow to the north. But these models really have not wavered. So on this, Gunnersville, I know you're kind of on the outside looking in, so is Coleman, but still 1 to 2 inches possible. But notice how fine of a cutoff line it's going to be. So let me get in here and just talk about the precipitation itself. When's it going to move in, and the type. So there's the European model. It's got, this is roughly, this evening. This has some snow potentially moving in as early as 6 o'clock this evening. But notice the pink area. This is areas of sleet and or freezing rain. So we get some heavier burst of snow here southeast of Moulton by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think it's going to snow. Where it snows, it's going to snow most of the day tomorrow. There will be periods where you get that burst of heavier snow. And the heaviest snow is probably going to occur when that area low pressure is due south of us in the Gulf of Mexico. So this is noon tomorrow. Still not much going on in Gadsden. You're going to be like, oh, they busted the forecast again, right? And Coleman right on the edge there. But then there's that kind of a burst there. We're going to have the warmer. What happens in these winter storms is in these mid-levels, there's warmer air coming in, and that's what supplies the moisture, and that's what supplies this warm air advection, we call it. That's what enhances the snowfall rates and the amount of snow we get. So that pretty much moves out, and then we get down towards Tuscaloosa. So if you're worried about your kids going back down to college or coming up, right now, the worst of it, there's just going to be this narrow band of this heavier snow and heavier impact that may stretch about 75, 100 miles north-south. But as far as their weather, as the traveling down south, and maybe you've got business, you've got to travel down south too, I don't see any huge impact. One thing I'm trying to figure out is, and I don't know this, and I kind of mentioned this today in an email to the news department about trying to figure out the Huntsville International Airport. I don't know what their capabilities are. I don't know if they're able to get snow off the runway as far as and the landing and delays. So tomorrow morning, I just don't know what those conditions will be like for the airport because I just can't answer any of that because I don't know enough about that. Let's talk temperatures here real quick. That's the other really big story here is how cold it's going to get. So tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., it's already 29, 28 in Florence, 33 in Huntsville, just barely hanging on. Oh, this is noon today. Never mind. I was like, why would it be 38? So here's where we're going. After midnight tonight, 25 in Florence, 26 Huntsville. And we continue on. Notice the edge of the bitter cold, the really true Arctic air. And this is 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is why whatever falls will likely have road issues on untreated roads within 30 minutes to an hour. So we're in the 20s all day from Huntsville. And then over here in Scottsboro, it's 25. Gunnersville, 26. Coleman, 25. 24 degrees down there towards Double Springs. And again, this is just going to be very, very cold. This is 3 o'clock in the morning Tuesday. And as we go through Tuesday, this is the noon hour on Tuesday. It's still 23 in Huntsville, 21 in Florence. And then we start to drop into the teens. And one thing about these temperatures is they're going to be even colder if we get this snowpack. So 11, this is midnight. So this is when you really want to have that faucet trickling, and not just trickling, maybe a really small stream of the hot water and the cold water. I'm going to be doing this myself. And usually I don't bring that up a lot when we're just in the mid-20s. But once you start getting down into the teens, and there's, this is 3 a.m. Wednesday, it's 7 in Huntsville, 14 in Florence. But again, these temperatures have kind of been all over the place. This is the noon hour on Wednesday, and the footprint here of these temperatures in the 20s, that's the snowpack. So that's why in the green shaded areas it looks warmer. So again, if you're traveling, once you get roughly out of Coleman County, and Coleman County is a nightmare on I-65 on a dry day, but there's probably going to be less traffic. So again, that's the cold air that's coming in. Let me regionalize this view here and talk a little bit more about that second storm system, because that's got me intrigued now since it started showing up. Real quick here. So here, this is a GFS model. This is going to be storm number 1 and then storm number 2. There's storm 1, and then here comes number 2. This is going to be Thursday afternoon and evening. And that if that happens, again, it's only 114 hours out, so you got to put at least a little stock into it, and that moves out. So let's see what the European model says. Oh, European model is currently running. It's not going to go out as far, I don't think. So I'll go to the other model run. So there's storm system number 1. This will be noon tomorrow. And then, yeah, see, it's bringing in mostly rain. So that's where we're going to fight the battle here on storm number 2. See, they're not in agreement. I think our app I'm looking at some of your questions. I think our app uses the graph model, I would assume. Through midnight tonight, travel should be fine. I don't think we're going to deal with any travel issues until about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and those will begin in the shoals and they'll move east. Our WFF, we're going to have complete coverage tomorrow morning of everything moving in, so we should be good there. But again, it's going to be brutal. The wind chill. Let's go full screen here. We'll talk about the wind chill factor. As we get into, this will be Wednesday morning. Wind chills, the one thing about the wind chill is it may not be as bad because it's not going to be terribly windy, but it's definitely going to be cold out there. A wind chill factor probably going to bottom out around, I'd say 0 to maybe 5 degrees below 0. This is what we've got. 9. It's just really, really uncomfortable. So I would get everything done that you need to get done today. So again, I'm going to go out myself. How you doing, Shelby? She just lays in here. She's fine. All right. I think I've said about everything I need to say here. Let me check your questions again. Oh, good question. What's the difference between freezing rain? Freezing rain is when it's all raining. It's just like a normal rain. However, the ground temperatures are freezing or below freezing, and it immediately sticks. So you start to get accumulation of ice on power lines. I don't see a huge power line concern here. I don't, unless it's warmer than we're thinking, and then we would see some. I think everybody is going to be impacted at some point in time. There are going to be hazardous roads in all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee. The problem is some of you will not be getting the snow. Some of you will get a mixture of sleet, maybe a touch of freezing rain, and maybe just a little bit of snow. But I mentioned this last week. I drove through Tulsa on my way back from Kansas, and they were not prepared at all because there was no real accumulation, but what fell stuck, and it was around the bridges, the overpasses. And I want to stress, if you have to get out tomorrow, you go over these overpasses. Do not change lanes when you're on the overpass. Don't brake on the overpass, because I almost wiped out myself. But these people kept driving 60 miles an hour because it was the morning commute. They were on their way to work. I was like, you don't see that guy spinning out right in front. I mean, there was a wreck every quarter mile all the way through Tulsa. So it just creates a problem. And I want to go back to what I said earlier. You may have a four-wheel drive, and I'm going to have my F-250 out there, maybe pulling people out of the ditches and stuff, but you get bottlenecked. You get the best time to be on the roads in these situations are when very few people are on the road, because there's always going to be that one person that causes everybody to wipe out, and then you get a mess and you can't go anywhere. So a few questions here. What's the latest amounts of snow? Well, Kelly, I think we're going to see, I'll show you two of these examples here, and I'll zoom, actually, I'll start in the bigger view here, and then we'll go in a little bit closer. Winter weather. Whoop, wrong button. All right, come on in, Gunner. Come on, buddy. All right, so let's go with total snowfall. And this is beginning, again, this is a European model, and this begins around just after midnight. So this model here is bringing in a little bit earlier, after midnight, and then continuing on with the heaviest totals in northern Mississippi. But we're still looking at, this has got 5 inches in Scottsboro, 5 inches in Huntsville, about 5 inches in the Shoals. And then you get the cutoff in southern Morgan County where you start to run into that 1 inch. And as far as power lines go, I don't think we're going to get enough freezing rain to weigh down the power lines. One thing we will have to watch, and this is going to change from one neighborhood to the next, is if we get this heavier snow, it's going to weigh down the those pine trees, and those pine tree branches would break. They're very vulnerable to snow. You may hear them snapping, but they could land on power lines. So that's another thing to watch. So here's the closer view showing the snowfall potential. And again, Coleman seems to be the drop off here. How quickly will the roads become dangerous? I think give it 30 minutes to an hour after the snow starts falling. I think they're going to be an issue. There will be roads that are treated, and those should be okay initially, but you can even overcome, even if it's pre-treated. The snow's probably going to be on the wet side. So that in and of itself creates an issue where it may melt just a little bit, and you get that thin coating of ice from the melting snow on the road, and then the snow compacts on top of that. So that's something we'll have to watch. We honestly never really know exactly how this is going to start out. So there's the European model from last night, and this is the latest just coming out. So I haven't even looked at this, so we'll see what it's showing. It currently goes out 21 hours. It's got snow moving in. This is 6 o'clock tonight, so it's moving in a little bit earlier. And we get into... So I would, based on the European model here, yeah, river effect snow, Chris. I think we may see that Wednesday. What happens with river effect snow? It happens, and it's kind of crazy. I was looking at the radar one day several years ago, and I was like, man, we're getting radar returns, and they've got 3 inches of snow in Morgan County. It's because it's coming off of Wheeler Lake. The lake temperatures are still fairly warm, all things considered, and you get a wind that goes right along. It goes parallel to that river. It actually picks up some of that evaporation off of the river, and it's going to be cold enough for that, and then it dumps it over into Morgan County, and it all depends on the wind direction. So that is also a possibility. So as we continue on here with the morning run of the European model, it continues to show snow. This is at midnight tonight. It's already got 1 inch of snow on the ground in Florence, about a 1/2 inch in Huntsville, and 1 inch in Athens, Colbert County, about 1 inch, also down here just west of Russellville. Again, this is midnight tonight. And as we continue on into tomorrow, this only goes out till 6 a.m. What you see up here, this is the current model where it is. So this is 24 hours waiting on the 27 hour. So we'll see what that shows us too. What's up, Gunner? All right, let me get my glasses on so I can read more questions. Wait on that 27 hour to come out. Oh, you're right. You're right. The Bucks game is actually tomorrow night. I forgot about that. But hey, I'm ready. We'll watch the Cowboys coming up at 3:30. That's right. Thanks, Craig. I probably won't be able to watch that game tomorrow night. I'll be busy at work. Yeah, Rob, I mean, as far as traveling in tonight, I don't see it. I think this model's a little bit too early, but, man, when it comes to winter weather, and we've already got the cold air. We've already got the cold air here, so sometimes it just does what it wants to do. Yeah, Mia wants a decent amount of snow. All right, 27 hours in. Are you ready? There it is. So this would be, again, what we're looking at is accumulating snow here on the European model. And the sweet spot continues to be south of Oxford, Mississippi. That's 4 inches by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. About 2 inches in Florence by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yeah, school may be out most of the week in some areas, especially some of these rural communities. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. So again, this is 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, about 1.5 inches, East Limestone, Harvest, Monrovia. And it does show this little sweet spot down here. And again, I want to stress, Morgan County, you are not under the winter storm warning, but I think you should be, because the criteria is 2 inches of snow, and I think you're going to get that, especially in Decatur, out towards Trinity. And they didn't put you in the watch yesterday until the afternoon. So I would expect an upgrade for some of these counties that are not in the winter storm warning. I expect them to be in there, and I think Morgan County will probably be added, and it wouldn't surprise me you get into northern Marshall County here too. So now we're out a little bit. Yeah, see, here we go. Here's like this is noon tomorrow. Yeah, this is noon tomorrow. Again, you're seeing this data come in just as I'm seeing it, and it's got over about 2.5 inches of snow in East Limestone. Well, let me show you. There we go. All right. So this is roughly, this will be noon. This will be 3 o'clock tomorrow. It's just amazing how consistent the model has been. Every run for 2 days at least has shown the same thing with the longer range models. Yeah, Scottsboro's kind of right on the line here, but this model here has got 3 inches on the ground in Scottsboro and most of Jackson County by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So 3 inches Huntsville, 3.5 inches in Florence, and then we get the big dumping over here of 6 inches, and this northeast of Greenville. But notice how narrow this band is. This is roughly a 75 to 100 mile band of heavier snow, and that's why there's bust potential, at least your hopes and dreams of snow on the southern edge here. As you get into Coleman, this still shows an inch, but you get Coleman an inch, and then you get right up on the Morgan County line, it's 3 inches. And that's exactly the way these storm systems go. Chelsea's got you covered tonight. Chelsea's going to have a good update for you guys coming up. I don't know our our newscast schedule today. I don't know if we got football games on there or not, but Chelsea, go ahead and follow her on Facebook. She will be giving you updates today as well there. Waiting on here's the last. So basically, it looks like that there it is. 3.5 inches Huntsville approaching, and then there's some 4-inch totals here too. Tupelo 4, about 4 in Florence, 4 inches down here near Russellville, and up into southern middle Tennessee. And let's talk about Tennessee just a second, because you may have people traveling. Again, if you're joining me, there's a big cheerleader convention or something going on in Indianapolis, and a lot of people have been asking about when should we leave. So here's the European model as we get farther north. And I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact here in Tennessee, and especially as you get Nashville north. They've got a little bit better equipment up there to handle snowfall, but you're likely going to encounter snow on I-65 south of Louisville, and this is going to be about, I would say, by 9 o'clock tonight. Again, a lot of this may just blow and drift, but they will be treating I-65 over and over again, I would imagine. So as we continue on here, and Florence does kind of show up here on this map, but this is that swath. Basically, the heaviest area of snow will likely begin at Columbia, Tennessee on I-65 and continue probably just to the south of Decatur, so to speak. But the mountainous areas over here, they're looking at probably 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of snow. But this is going to be a really good snow for North Alabama. I will say that. And southern middle Tennessee. It's been a while. Let me switch back to the GFS real quick. Let's see what its timing is. GFS kind of brings it in around 9 o'clock tonight too. So if anything, everything's coming in a little bit earlier. But look how it's the same area, basically. Oh, and here's storm number 2. I'm not even going to touch that one yet. Again, that one's way off. We're going to have to wait to see what happens with this first storm first. Let me check some of your questions here. Yeah, Kelly, I'm pretty confident we're going to see a good 1 to 3 inch snowfall, but some areas will probably get 5 out of this. So confidence is increasing for sure. Let me click that real quick. Again, here's a look at the country where we have all of the warnings going on. That's a pretty active map. Usually when it gets this cold around here, it gets warmer out in California, Oregon. So we're pretty much taking their cold air and their snow, so to speak. So just check a few more questions. I've been on for about, I don't know, what time is it? I've been on for a little over 30 minutes, 35 minutes or so. Again, I appreciate you guys checking in with us. And please subscribe, like on YouTube here so you get more notifications, because a lot of times the algorithm is just crazy, and YouTube does not like Facebook. When's the second one? Oh, The second storm system may be coming in Thursday, but one model says rain, the other model says snow. I will tell you, though, let me switch back over to Alabama. I will tell you, when this Arctic air gets in place, it is hard to get rid of. So there's our... Yeah, I don't want to go too far ahead because I'll show you. And then, again, use caution when you're looking at other maps on social media, because this right here is the GFS snowfall. Again, it doesn't show as much back here, so we're starting to see a little bit of changes. But somebody might post a graphic that looks more like this, which would include 2 storms and not this one. So you got to watch out for that. And we try to stay away from the higher totals. I expect stuff to start melting Thursday, probably Thursday. Wednesday, let's take a look at clouds real quick here, because the sun can do wonders on the roads, but you still have to watch out for those shaded areas. And if it clears out, even at night, there's a process called sublimation that works better at night when there's no clouds, and that's where you go from the solid state to a gas. Basically, you go from a solid state of the ice to a gas without even becoming a liquid, and it helps dry roads too. But cloud cover, here we go. Let's see what the cloud cover issue looks like. So here's today. Again, these are clouds in blue. And this is Tuesday at noon. So it's still cloudy at noon Tuesday, 6 o'clock Tuesday. Sun won't help us Tuesday. Wednesday morning, we still have some clouds, so it's going to be a while. I don't think there's a whole lot of time Wednesday if we get bright sunshine. That's 9 o'clock in the morning Wednesday, 3 o'clock. So we'll have sun, but then the clouds come right back with that Thursday storm system. So regardless of whether we talk snow or rain with that Thursday system, it's still going to be cloudy. And we still don't warm up much at all. So here are the temperatures again. Let me get to Thursday. Hey, we hit 37 for about 2 hours, and then it gets cold again. There's more cold air coming in. So this is, again, that's why I was looking at those flights to Jamaica. Man, this is not going to be, this is Sunday morning. All right, for those of you that are asking, when are we going to get a normal winter? This is it. This is it. All right. I think the app uses the graph model, and we can actually go in there and change a few things in our weather app. And but there is an issue with our app that we can't, after you go 48 hours out, we can't change that data. So we got to work with our provider with that. And we've got to kind of go in and clean up sometimes, because the app will automatically say 2 to 4 inches, and we really don't like to do accumulation totals until we're like 48 hours out from any event. Well, all right, I'm going to get back and get ready for some football. I got to go get another steak. You know, Walmart, they've started selling some good steak there. It's not just your choice steak anymore. You can actually get some good cuts of meat. So I was extremely surprised, because I had always been going to Costco, but I found some good steak, at least at the Walmart market here, and I really don't even want to go in there. Everybody looks at me on snow days when I go in there. So anyway, if you guys got any more questions, I'll be here for just a few more seconds. HR, yeah. Some of these models are better for severe weather than they are for cold weather. That's another thing to look at. So I'll plop up the GFS again here. Actually, I kind of like the European. And the thing about the European, sometimes they put a little more money into it, I think, over there in Europe for it. But the GFS has been doing a pretty good job recently. Let's take a look at this ice potential here. Again, this is the European model. Yeah, you see, here's where we may start to get some problems. This is 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We've got this sleet, potential freezing rain developing basically Bankhead National Forest into southern Lawrence County, south of Moulton, into Coleman County. So may not be the prettiest. And again, this pink area continues into southern Marshall County, so Gunnersville, that hill going from Gunnersville up Sand Mountain up to Albertville, that's surely they're going to treat that, but that's going to be a mess. And then as we continue on, this will be Tuesday morning. Could see some of this freezing rain and sleet all the way down to Meridian, north of Hattiesburg, through Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. And then it just kind of fades away. All right, well, I appreciate you guys tuning in again. Like, subscribe, and I'll have more updates here from home. And eventually I'm building a studio out in my garage that I haven't built the garage yet, so we got to wait on that too. Shouldn't have too much wind. That's a good question, though. Let's take a look at the 6-hour max wind gusts. Actually, let's just do... I guess that's all the option I get there. So there will be some blowing snow. We're looking at some wind gusts around 15, maybe 20. But then as we get into Monday night, yeah, it starts to get a little windier behind that front. So those winds will pick up Tuesday morning around 20 miles an hour, and that's going to send that wind chill way down. So the wind chill will be in the single digits. Tuesday's not going to be a fun day. It's going to be cloudy. Probably going to have some flurries. And let's take a look here as far as the river effect snow goes. See what the wind direction, wind barbs. So it's due north here Monday. So I don't expect any river-enhanced snow Monday. But notice how these little wind, what you're looking at, these little wind arrows. Whoops. What you're looking at here are the wind arrows. And these are northwest winds here. So you really want a west-northwest wind along Wheeler Lake to get that river effect snow. Because the longer the wind, or at least that parcel of air, is over the water, the more likely it is to pick some of that up. So we're going to need more of a westerly component, like right there would be perfect. That's Tuesday night. So I think Tuesday night, see how this area right here, you can see that arrow as it moves straight down Wheeler Lake here, southern Limestone County, and then it basically would dump snow here northeast of Somerville and north of Priceville. With that wind there, that would be probably a good wind direction, and it continues into Tuesday evening as the winds pick up. So that's what we'll look for, and there's some really strong winds here, or at least stronger. We're looking at probably 20, 25 mile an hour gusts, and the temperature's 10 degrees. So I think we're going to see some of this river effect snow, even east of, just over there north of Town Creek, Highway 101 as it crosses out towards the dam as you go from Wheeler Lake to Wilson Lake. I think we're going to see some river effect snow. And I say that it's not, it usually doesn't amount to much, but maybe 1 to 2 inches, but it can surprise you. All right, you guys stay safe. If you don't have to go anywhere, you look outside tomorrow, it's a mess. Just stay home if you can. I know some of you got to go to work. I realize that. And I'll be out there with you. And I'll have my chains and my gloves and my 4-wheel drive. So we'll see. Again, even if you got a 4-wheel drive, you're going to slow down, especially if it's ice. If it's ice, it doesn't matter. Get some windshield wiper fluid too, by the way. That comes in very handy because after snow, when the snow starts melting, your windshield's a mess and it just gets dirty and the visibility's bad. And if you just put water in your windshield wiper fluid reservoir, you probably want to take care of that too, because or even your radiator, because we're going to get some really cold air coming in. All right, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you later. Chelsea's got you covered this afternoon and this evening.